Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And today's video arrives to us with an air of surprise around it, but by God does it not just land where far does. Today's talking points and discussions and things we'll break down will either cause you, the viewer, to be very happy or very angry, which means we can only be speaking about one topic and one topic only: Rangers Football Club and the gaffer. And two things chucked together hasn't caused this amount of fuss and range of emotions since maybe Randy, Macho Man, Savage and Hulk Hogan teaming together to form the Mega Powers, because goodness gracious, whenever you mention Rangers, you ever mention Clement, there is that spark and there is that conversation. But just in case you don't know what the hell we're referencing today or what we're talking about, maybe you're working late, maybe you're busy with family, maybe you just weren't online, Rangers released a pre-recorded sit-down interview with Rangers CEO Patrick Stewart at 2 PM to discuss the manager, the finances and the future. And the latter there isn't going to be something we really break down to or dive our teeth into too deep in today's video, because honestly it's starting to feel just a little bit familiar, if you catch my drift. You know what I mean? When we start talking about, oh, we're doing this right now, or we're planning for this, or we're going to do this, best in class, all that type of stuff, you know what I mean? The cue cards, you know what I mean? The bumper sticker stuff we hear every single year when it's almost season ticket renewal time. It just gets a wee bit hang, and it just falls on deaf ears now. So we're not going to dive too much into maybe the latter half, ladies and gentlemen, because we know what it's all about and we know that it all comes out. And said that might be slightly pessimistic to myself, but as someone who's sat and heard the exact same speech, and honestly for the latter half of the video I felt like I could have just closed my eyes and went, is that James Bisgrove's reading the exact same script? So I'm not going to dive too much into that, but there is some actual good things to talk about, and I thought some of the questions were very good. I thought some of the answers were very telling, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way, but aye, he was up there, he faced it, he answered. So let's talk about it then, shall we? And the biggest revelation that we got was Rangers doubling down and reconfirming they are sticking behind manager Phil Clement. Phil Clement will be going nowhere anytime soon. So anyone expecting anything to come from that this season has now been given their answer, and truly after the embarrassment that was the Queen's Park loss, you know, my first time in history we've ever been beaten by a team lower in the divisions and everything like that, if he's not getting sacked after that, he's never getting sacked no matter what. So we just have to accept that now, right? And I know that is going to cause a lot of frustration, and I know that is going to cause a lot of discussion, but also I know there's people that's very happy about that because they like Clement. And again, this channel isn't for this and this. People know how I feel, and I won't sit and pretend to be neutral on the topic. I didn't think he's good enough. That's just how I feel, right? But again, this conversation in this channel is about everyone to voice their opinion. So I know people will be pretty happy with that, but I want to dive more into maybe the discussion points and the reasoning for why we're keeping on, because God, is it layered? And first up, Patrick was pretty quick to give a lot of reasons for keeping Clement and trying to fire out and trying to put out a lot of the fires. And one of the reasons he has sort of said for not sacking the manager is he's came into this football club and he's realised that chopping and changing the manager hasn't brought success to the club and hasn't propelled the team forward, hasn't built anything for the future, which honestly is absolutely true. Us chopping and changing manager hasn't propelled this club back to being successful. It hasn't got us back in the right way. But again, for me, is that a reason for not sacking a poor manager because the previous managers have also been poor? Genuinely, no, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I mean? You can't just tie yourself to a future or stay with a guy because it's no worked in the past. Maybe instead of having the mentality that, oh, it's no worked in the past, sacking and hanging in managers, maybe the mentality should be getting the right manager in and actually having a step back and looking at the guys above you, Patrick, who's been making the decisions to bring in these failing managers. You know what I mean? That should be maybe the way we look at it, because they go ahead and say shit runs downhill, right? That's the old saying you've probably heard your dad, your uncle, your granddad, whatever go ahead and say. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what we witness every weekend / occasional midweek is the bottom that hill. All these mistakes year after year, all these people that get away scot-free constantly, making mistake after mistake after mistake, hiring their pals, promoting their pals, guys that cutting oranges here, there, making all these massive decisions. All this has came right down to the hill that we see an absolute mess on the park, because that is perfectly reflected off the park. And again, that is where you have to have some sympathy for Phil Clement, right? And I'm no blind to the issues that's actually there. Again, if you watch his channel regularly, we've spoke about them for a year, he was handed a very, very difficult hand. But again, it's not a constant excuse and constant get out of jail free card for failing as a Rangers manager, because two things can be true at the same time. First up, is it true that chopping and changing managers hasn't brought success for this club? Yeah, that is absolutely true. We do look an absolute mess and it hasn't fixed all the issues, but also is it equally true that domestically Phil Clement has showed zero signs of figuring out and being able to implement a style of play or have some sort of identity that looks like it's ever going to bring domestic success, what this club used to be built on? I'd also argue is also true. And that leads me perfectly to the next conversation point that happened in the interview, talking about the Queen's Park embarrassment and everything like that. And fair play to him for coming out here and addressing it head on, and it was quite a tough question there fired away for Craig, and he answered it pretty, you know what I mean? I'm sure it was already discussed pre-hand and everything like that, but again, seeing him there discussing it, no hiding away from it, and talking about how embarrassing it was to not only the players and the coaching staff and how much it wounded them, but it wounded and affected morale of everyone in the club. He's came out and addressed it the exact way every fan wanted someone to come and brunt the frustration. Now, again, people will argue, why did it take a win versus Hearts for them to finally come out of the woodwork? But again, for me, we can't really argue when or moan when they didn't show their face to then moan when they did show their face. You know, when Patrick went there, he addressed it. It was absolutely embarrassing and it wasn't good enough, which I was like, right, okay, I like this. But then a pivot happened that made my heart sink. And for anyone who watches his channel regularly, you know exactly where I'm going to go next, because where we did, or where it was addressed, the poor cup performance and how poor we've been domestically and how bad the results have been, he went ahead to contradict himself by mentioning it's a results-driven business that people will be judged on the results. No, really, there, Patrick. But also went ahead to talk about the European success. And it's like, look, it's European success. And everyone knows where I'm going to go with this. And everyone gets annoyed with me every time I do it. But ladies and gentlemen, what European success are we blinding our fan base with? You know what I mean? Great nights and great memories, absolutely. But is there any silverware at the end of it? Ladies and gentlemen, are we adding any silverware or any trophies to our collection that used to make this club, the club we all love, the most successful team in the world? No. It doesn't. No, I'm not blind enough or dumb enough to no understand how important European football is to the running of this football club, because we are so poorly managed and we are so poorly run that we have made so many costly mistakes with wages and transfers and everything like that. We've put ourselves in some difficult holes and some difficult losses. So these European nights are vital to the club, right? And that is why they're so tunnel visioned. But that still drives me absolutely crazy, because pulling it back to the success aspect, if we were dominating our domestic league, if we were doing our job domestically, we would be automatically qualifying for these competitions. We would be making more money, but it just seems to be all complete backwards that the club holds these European nights up, and finishing 8th out the top 8 was a great achievement, especially when playing 4 of the top 8. But again, at the same time, it's not winning us anything and that. We're not winning a trophy, we're not winning a title. We'll maybe get another couple rounds or two, or maybe we'll go all the way. You just never ever know. But it's very, very unrealistic that we'll be lifting that European trophy. That's just facts, ladies and gentlemen. Our best chances of winning trophies is our domestic football that nobody at the club seems to care about. And I never really got that for what that interview was as well, because we addressed how bad we won the league, we addressed how bad we were at Queen's Park and how embarrassing it was. But then what we're but we were great in Europe and everything. That's all backwards. What are we doing? But again, they prioritise the Thursday night rather than the weekend, and this is the mess that we're actually in, ladies and gentlemen. And to circle back to the two things being true, again, if you saw it, go ahead and look at it, is finishing 8th in the Europa League a tremendous success while playing 4 of the top 8 in there? Absolutely, that's a great success, and does Clement deserve credit? Absolutely. And is it also true that shocking management from Phil Clement domestically has seen us be an absolute disaster, not only with the embarrassment cup result that's already been mentioned by Queen's Park, but domestically be an absolute disaster despite downsizing, still not being able to beat the likes of Dundee United, Motherwell, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, etc, etc, etc. Aye, ladies and gentlemen, and again, for me, both of them can be true. And look, I get what Patrick Stewart's doing here, right? He's trying to bang on the old drum by mentioning the European success. I really understand what he's trying to do, but at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, you can't look us in the eyes after what we've been through year after year after year and try and hoodwink us anymore by saying, oh, we've got to give him all the praise and give all the credit to Clement and he's done amazing for what he's done. And Europe will sit there and make excuses and say he's not to blame for the domestic failures. You know what I mean? If you give him praise for his European success, then clearly he's got to be criticised for his domestic failures, because he can be both, and he has been both, as is the club, but no one seems to understand that. And honestly, that's how I feel, and that's it regarding the club doubling down and confirming they are sticking with Clement. Again, I've tried to voice my opinion, I've tried to talk about some of the things that were spoken about. Go ahead and watch the entire interview. I've tried to give counterpoints to the points they tried to ram down our throats in terms of European success. Aye, that's great, lads, we're not winning any trophies. What about the domestic stuff? Can we focus on that again? But I'm not going to continue to go round and round and round. That's who I feel about the decision. Now it's time to just hope this club can sort of find its way, and Clement can figure out Scottish football, and we can see a wee bit of success at least in terms of building something for the future, and maybe having a great European run, maybe going against odd, maybe doing the unrealistic, because again, we threw away the realistic, so maybe it is the season of the unrealistic under Phil Clement. It would certainly be very fitting with the way that it's absolutely unfolded, but that is how I feel. What about you? Let me know down there in the old comment section below. And again, just to wrap up the old video regarding the financial side of the things, he did also confirm the money is there to sack Clement if they wanted to do it, which they don't. They have the means, they're choosing not to, so they squashed any rumours that Clement's getting kept on because there is no any money. He's quick to say that is absolute nonsense. The money was there. If they do want to sack him, they just simply don't want to sack him, which is confusing. But again, they're saying chopping and changing managers doesn't work. Tell that to Everton, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I mean? And again, I'm just going to give a wee quick example, because people keep going doing the changing the manager doesn't work, but bringing in the right manager should work, is it not? Or a good manager. The perfect example is Everton. The mess that they're in off the park, points deductions here, mess here, injuries here, everyone here, aging squad there. Moises went into that place, put a structure in place, stamped down his identity. We all know it. He stamped it down right that, and the success that they're getting right away is there for everyone to see. And then again, I sit and look at the Rangers team after a year and a bit, and I still didn't understand what we play. I still don't see an identity. I still didn't see a style of play. But hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, with now all the questions and rumblings around Clement staying or going, now it's been underlined he is, maybe we can start to see some. That's all I can hope. And everyone that is Clement in, I hope yous are alright. We can go and look at this and laugh at this in years to come. I really hope, because if it is there, and if I am looking like a Diddy in a couple years time, that means this club's been successful, and that's truly all that matters to me. So hopefully the Clement inners are right, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully the Clement people, or the people that doubt Clement's ability to be a Rangers manager, are wrong, because that will bring success to this team. But again, let me know your opinions down there in the old comment section below. I'll leave a link to the official Rangers interview as well if you want to read it. But until next time, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.